Hey, peace and love, family. Want to welcome everybody back. I got a treat for everyone today, but the full version is gonna be uploaded to my Patreon. The link will be in the description. But I do want to give people a brief intro to uh, this lecture that I'm about to be putting up pretty soon. Um, it'll be up by the time I upload this to YouTube, but everyone, I do want y'all to go check it out on my Patreon. And since I just hit 4,000 subscribers here on YouTube, I'm gonna do something new and upload it as a free video on my Patreon. It'll be the first one, so you can come check it out and get the full listen, I would say, of this. It's not quite private, but not quite for YouTube either. So, um, basically, I'm gonna be going in on the Trine of Moorish science. It's an intro to the Adept sciences of Noble Drew Ali. And you know, if anyone's been following me on Instagram, um, I've put a little bit up on a few of the things that are in this lecture here today, but going just a little bit. Required sources for this. First off, gonna be Google or YouTube, or I mean, or Yahoo. YouTube maybe too, but it's not gonna have as much. The Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Circle Seven, the Red Book, which is the Silent Brotherhood of the East. It's Adept book of the Moorish Science Temple. Um, the oral statements of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Got a few of those thrown in here today. The only astrology book you ever need. It's another source I'll be using, even though it's not the only astrology book you ever need, but it's a really good one for people that are starting out. Um, Duncan's Ritual of Freemasonry and the Initiates of the Flame. Um, Basically, all those sources um, gonna be what we're gonna be using to get into the sciences of astrology, alchemy, and masonry. And before people start going off, you know, um, I do want to point out that I'm going to be teaching more about specifically masonry as Noble Drew Ali brought forth in his literature, as opposed to Freemasonry necessarily, but there are some correlations. So I will be pointing that out in Duncan's book. Um, just showing people some of what Noble Drew Ali was teaching, showing that he really put the stuff out there already. Um, Astrology, masonry, and alchemy are a three-sided foundation of the base of Moorish science. Without in-depth knowledge of all three, the complete science of what Noble Drew Ali taught will never be realized. Um, let me zoom in just a little bit so y'all can see. But alchemy is the science of turning base metal into gold. I must actually put a Y on there. Y'all forgive me for that one there. Um, but anybody that's really into alchemy knows there's also as above, so below, as within, so without, the spiritual alchemy too. And I'm gonna be going a little bit more into that once I get into the full lecture. Um, Now, masonry. Um, Zoom out so we can get a full picture here. The science of government and rulership is how we're gonna be defining masonry as per this lecture. And then astrology, the science of celestial governance and planetary rulership. Sound pretty familiar? So, you know, um, just so people have a little bit better understanding. Um, A non-initiated Moor, Mason, or mystic in the Moorish culture by birthright is still an alchemist and initiator of flame. If he or she, with due diligence, will walk along uh, in looks like I put this in here wrong, but it's to find the internal light. If we ever intend to decipher and reclaim the ancient knowledge left by our ancestors in the hands of custodians who only have a speculative and not operative knowledge and right of custodianship. Many orders have splintered pieces or puzzles, and Noble Drew Ali put out the blueprint of deciphering our lost keys. And this, what they call a Rosicrucian symbol, will be one of those things that I mean in particular. And as I go further into the lecture, into the whole lecture, I'll be breaking down a lot of the little symbols and things that are on here. Not necessarily this particular one, but it'll give you the keys and the insight to what you need to be able to go back and find these type of things. Because this is really what Noble Drew Ali was teaching, uh, in a sense. So, we're going to go at the oral statements of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. This is number 143 and 144. Now, Sister M. Peyton Bay of Temple 7 and 25 said the Prophet said, try to have your temples in buildings where meetings are on the second floor like Masons. I wonder why that was. Very interesting. And then 144 right after that, this is another brother of the same temples, brother O. Peyton Bay. Excuse me. And he said that the Prophet said, I took the cover off all secret organizations, which is absolutely true. But the thing is, a lot of the things of these secret organizations is very coded. So if you don't study past the surface level of what Noble Drew Ali was teaching, you may not see some of the deeper things that are encoded into what I would say is the temple, the Circle Seven, and just the culture of the Moors that he brought in general. You know, so if your teachers of Moorish science are not teaching these things, and they're lying, keeping secrets, or don't know, veiled light, and that's what the prophet was saying when he was coming to pull the covers off, of these secret organizations. It's not that these things are necessarily secret. They are secrets. That's what they are. And Europeans learned to keep a secret away from us when we brought them into our organizations to raise them up, bring them to a higher level of civilization. Um, these things were more of cultural for us. It wasn't necessarily something that was just specifically um, taught by right of initiation and penalty of death. You know, there wasn't the same stipulations necessarily. You know, we learn these things, from our mothers a lot of times, or from our fathers. We learn these things at home before we even got out into the world. So they were cultural things that were already there together intact, and the worldwide culture of slavery did a number on our people, you know. So, you know, I will be teaching you lessons I and others have discovered using what the prophet has left. Um, from all of my studies in alchemy, masonry, and astrology, All signs of the zodiac have certain traits and are gatekeepers holding specific keys. And this is mine. Peace and love, family. I'll catch y'all over on Patreon.